Now, I've got to tell you, if you're a Rotherham fan and you've come here for a bit of a laugh and a gloat, there's not going to be much pickings here for you, because I'm right pleased with that performance. Thought we did right well. Lineups then, Rotherham went with Hekwe. Wood was back in. His suspension with only one game for an handball. And Harding, that were their back three. Ogbene, Wiles and Barla set across midfield with Lindsay and Ferguson. And no surprise, Smith up front with Ladapo. Wednesday, same back three again, Palmer, Hutchinson and Story. Johnson, Bannon, Luongo and Byers across midfield. And it was Jack Hunt who got that spot on the right hand side, which meant it was Patterson and Mendes Lang up top. Bit of a surprise for me that Patterson started up top. Not because I don't like him or hate him, I do like him, and his utility skills have come in invaluable. But I was just surprised because he put such a shift in midweek. I mean, by 75 minutes he was out on his feet, you know. So I thought Canberra might get a start. Looks fit as a fiddle. Same again when he come off bench each week. So I thought he might get a start, but willing to see how it played out, because obviously Patterson and Mendes Lang, you've got that blend of skills, which is what I talked about before the game. So surprised, but not disappointed in particular. Hunt came in on the right hand side, wing back Spock. Wing back spot. And that made common sense, because we talked before the game about how Ferguson getting them deep crosses into the back stick to Smith would be one of their main weapons, and we did have to find a way to stop that, cut it off at so Hunt in there does make sense from a technical point of view. Tactical, tachinal. I'll just make words up. My gob's right claggy, that's what it is. Is this? If you've had any of that, very nice, highly recommended. Not very good though for when you're trying to make a video. So game kicks off, horrific conditions, that's the first thing we've got to say. Wind is driving in, rain is slashing down, pitch has just got big brown streaks all over it. Looks, it's very much a 1980s pitch on way to being sandy looking goal mounds, I mean, I quite liked it in the sense of it was a bit retro, and I thought, oh yeah, that's what football used to look like. Sounds like a fucking aeroplane coming down. Start again. Now, Rotherham this season have been getting a lot of praise for their high running stats and the speed which they close teams down, especially in midfield. Apparently they're up there with Bielsa's Leeds and Atletico Madrid and I think it was Bayern Munich as one of the best pressing sides in Europe, Rotherham United. But the first 20 minutes, it's Wednesday doing all the pressing in that middle third of the pitch, especially. Bannon, Byers, Luongo. They're in. As soon as a Rotherham player had a touch, bang, there was somebody in on them straight away. And I thought Wednesday dominated that area of the pitch from the first minute up until the break. Now, Rotherham this season have been getting a lot of praise for their high running stats and the speed which they close teams down, especially in midfield. Apparently they're up there with Bielsa's Leeds and Atletico Madrid and I think it was Bayern Munich as one of the best pressing sides in Europe, Rotherham United. But the first 20 minutes, it's Wednesday doing all the pressing in that middle third of the pitch, especially. Bannon, Byers, Luongo. They're in. As soon as a Rotherham player had a touch, bang, there was somebody in on them straight away. And I thought Wednesday dominated that area of the pitch from the first minute up until the break. I mean, we actually had ball in net, didn't we? Brilliant run from Palmer, linked up with Mendes Lang. Got teed up. It's actually a nice little clip ball from Palmer with left foot through, but Hunt has just drifted a little bit offside. I mean, 1-0 there, and the way Wednesday were playing, I'd have fancied them from that point, but fractions in this game sometimes, isn't it? You know, it gets to 30, 35 minutes and we hadn't really seen anything from Rotherham. Smith, who's a top scorer, real threat when he gets ball around box. He's not had ball around box. In fact, they've not really done anything. They did get a corner 10, 15 minutes before the break. Byers won a brilliant header to head it away, and then, amazingly, he was one who cleared it on second ball. He headed it out, and then he made 10 yards up and volleyed it away. So that was the only real threat, was from that one set piece. I mean, as it started going into half time, they did start looking for a big diagonal. Whenever they got the ball, big diagonal ball out to Ogbenny, who had pushed right on it and was pushing Johnson back a little bit. But even then, Wednesday looked under no threat whatsoever. Had a great chance. Patterson did some really good hold-up play. He's took a bit of a slagging tonight. I mean, he's not really a centre-forward, but did some real good hold-up play. Waited, played Bannon in, and he just sort of dragged his shot wide at far post. On another day, I think he connects with that prop play that goes in. But a really, really positive first half from Wednesday. Just a couple of seconds, half a minute before the whistle, Mendez-Laing drives in, gets a shot over to the back. So it's a really good save from their keeper. He sort of punches it out the other way. Actually, he had a decent game. I don't really know much about him, but I thought he had a very good game, their keeper. And he had to, really, because it was a game, really, that they were the team that were under the most pressure. They made a change coming into the second half. They brought out Ollie Rathbone on for Lindsay, and a common sense decision, because I thought Bannon had more or less had Lindsay's pants down. I thought Bannon would completely dominate him in that game with the way he used the ball, and he's losing him and getting into pockets of space all over the pitch. And I've seen that Rathbone before. He's a real busy bastard, you know. He's got a right engine on him. A little bit surprised he didn't start, especially with the way that Rotherham go about the business as a rule, not particularly today, but as a rule, closing teams down. Gather he's had a bit of a knock, so maybe it would that, but I was surprised he didn't start in first place. Rotherham come into it a bit more in second half. I thought Wednesday was still value. I thought Wednesday was still the better side. I thought Wednesday was still the side more likely to score a goal. But they clearly had a right round of fucks at half time in that dressing room, because they come out and looked a different team. They'd not really got a footing on us in first half, and they'd not really mixed it up at all. They were having little fannying touches. I mean, I've had a very direct side. They were a direct side at their place earlier in the season. But little fannying touches, and Wednesday were in. Luongo, Byers, Bannon, in. Didn't really give them a moment to breathe in first half, and they were a bit more at it second half. They come out a little bit more and made a fist of it, but I still thought Wednesday were on top. On top and causing problems. Mendez-Laing's pace was a huge threat today all the time. Now, Richard Wood obviously just come back in after his suspension. Not the quickest lad in the world. In fact, I'd probably say one of the slowest centre-halves in division. But an obvious plan was to get Mendez-Laing running at him, which he was doing time and again, and he was causing big problems. Equally, the lad Harding out on the left-sided centre-half spot, he was having a bit of a... because he weren't whether to come to Hunt, who was getting in round the outside of him a lot and making these little guest appearances in the box. And then Mendez-Laing sort of went out there as well, and he started almost doubling up on him. Wood's then in that position of does he go or does he stay, and it creates that little space then. They were causing massive problems for them. But in an ironic way, it actually caused a bit of a problem for Wednesday too. Now, understandably, if you're having joy performing in certain areas of the pitch or getting in and around certain players, that's what you're going to do. And Mendez-Laing caused them an absolute headache. Wood and Harding would having a nightmare trying to control him. And he started going out there more and more and picking the ball up there. The problem is, the number of times he got the ball, did brilliantly, beat Harding or got round the back of Wood and got a delivery. The problem is, we'd only got one man in the box. Now, that's fine if you're getting them runners on from midfield. If Byers is getting in there, or Bannon or Johnson's getting in around the back and making a 2 and a 3 where possible. But a lot of the time, Mendez-Laing's getting to the byline or whatever, drilling a crossing, and there's only Patterson in there on his own. And he's not an out-and-out goal scorer. Now, that's me just looking ultra critically and little areas, but overall this is a really good Wednesday performance, and 9 times out of 10 it's enough to beat a team. But without those natural strikers up there, you've got to get other people with them. If you've not got your natural centre forward, and we've got Windass and Gregory sat up there in the stand, both injured, forwards who would probably walk in most other teams in this division, and you're having to rely on your second or third choice, or as we saw today, players who aren't even strikers, then they've got to be supported more. You've got to get more people into the box, in and around them, and other people have got to chip in with the goals, as we've seen with Byers in the 2 previous games. Other people have got to start chipping in when your 2 main centre forwards are out. Everybody's got to chip in. Johnson, it's funny, we talked about it before the game, him and Ogbeni on that side have had a bit of an up and down. It's mainly been Johnson, but Wednesday's shape is very much like that, because we're doing a lot of our play down the right hand side with Hunt, and obviously I've just said Mendes Lang is drifting out there, so it's just brought everything around a bit. So Johnson's almost in that aware position and not getting on as much as I would have liked him to. But he did get on about 50 minutes, put a good cross into the box, but it's just sort of slightly behind Patterson. He gets a looping header just over the bar, and it's half chances. It's half chances. We're creating stuff that a natural finisher might put away, but someone who's not playing up there week in, week out. And I'm going to stick up for Patterson here. He's not playing week in, week out in the same spot. You want a bit of consistency as a player. If you're in the same position every week, you start building and growing, getting them understanding. If you're right back 1 week, centre half, centre forward, in all, well, it's hard to get that rhythm. So I'll stick up for Patterson a bit there. We know he's not a natural goal scorer, a natural finisher, but he's up there and he's been working really hard in absence of other 2. But you do miss those sorts of players, that your natural finishers like Gregory. Especially when you're playing a team with the sort of record these have got. 31 games they've played this season, Rotherham United, scored 57 goals, but look at the goals against. 18 goals against. That's an incredible record. That is a defence tighter than a duck's arse. And to breach a defence like that, you've got to be one of the best teams in the league, or you've got to have one of the best finishers in the league. We're not the best team in the league, and our best finishers are sat in the stand because they're injured. So it was always going to be really hard to break these down today, no matter how well we played. So it's a tough game. Wednesday are playing well, with a better team. We are the best team in this game at this stage. A bit like they were at their place. We just can't quite break them down and get that final goal. They've not really offered anything. We've got Smith up front, who's been completely isolated. Hunt and Mendes Lang have isolated Ferguson out there. He's not been able to get any crosses into the box hardly at all, and it's a game plan that's been executed well and working out well. We're just looking for that goal, and then they score on a rare attack from a set piece. It's a set piece that never should have been. It takes a clip, it's going towards byline, keeper comes and gets it. There is no way in the world, and I mean no way in the world, that through 5 bodies there and the posts, that linesman on the other side of the pitch sees that. Absolutely no fucking chance. And if you're a linesman and you cannot see it, then you don't fucking do anything. Ref, out, in, don't know mate, you'll have to make call, you're closer than me. That's what these stupid bleeding headsets are for. No way in the world he's seen that at all. Farce. Anyway, all at ball, bleeding hell. I mean, it's a well-worked set piece, by the way, when it does come in, because that is off training ground. That's not a miss it. That's not a, he swazzed it. It's come off right part of his boot. He's aimed at for far side exactly for that reason. Well, I think he's aimed it out there for him to try and get a volley, but it's a bit high. But anyway, headed back in. Ladapo's there. He's a yard out. He can't miss. And it's a well-executed free kick for situation for them, corner for them, but it's usually disappointing because it shouldn't have been a corner, and a free header on edge of box like that, somebody just gets underneath it. I don't know if it's Mendes Lang actually, but frustrating. Not too much to worry about them, because Wednesday have been the better team. They have been the better team, but that keeps flashing back in your head, doesn't it? 18 goals against. That's an incredible record. That is a defence tighter than a duck's arse. And there's something else that's flashing in my head at this point, because I was reading all the stats last night and I thought, and that was this. Now, admittedly, last season they didn't score many first goals because they were down bottom end of bloody championship table with us, but that's still a decent record, and this season it's something that they've really worked on. They go out there, score a goal, and they can keep it tight at back. Wednesday kept knocking at door. We were still better team, actually, even into that second half. Even then, Wednesday kept knocking at door, but that rocked us a bit, because Wednesday will have been well aware in their preparation for this game how tight they were at the back. Just them 18 goals conceded, they'll have been aware of this record where they don't lose games from a winning position. And suddenly Wednesday started losing the focus a little bit. Byers a very late tackle round on ankles of I don't know if we were Rathbone or Wild. Actually, Rathbone caught another one. Hutchinson, another late tackle. Wednesday, the players will have been aware of this record that Rotherham's got, and they'll have been aware as well that they've been stiffed really from a corner that never was, and there was little chance of pulling back. So there's just that little 5-10 minute spell when the discipline goes, and of course it plays right into Rotherham's hands because they're 1-0 up. They don't care. They don't care if players are on floor getting treatment. They don't care if it's been booted out for a throw while somebody can have their ankle looked at. So it's a little bit of discipline. But as I said, psychologically, Wednesday will have known how hard it was going to be to come back from this goal down. As it was, they had one more golden opportunity to get a point, to get back in the game. And the way they were playing before their Rotherham corner, probably a chance to go and try and get a second. And it's Mendes-Lang, he does brilliantly, he gets on. Wood's left for dead, he bursts through, and it's a side foot. For me, he's got to be doing more. He's got to be testing the keeper. You know, it's straight at him, it's a side foot. Now people will say a proper finisher will put that away, and no doubt they would, but you've got to ask yourself the question, it's a self-made opportunity really. Would any of our other forwards have actually been in that position? Would they have been able to get that far up the pitch, beat Wood for pace and get there? Maybe not. So it's a swings and roundabouts. But he has got to do better with that opportunity. And it's Mendes-Lang. He does brilliantly. He gets on. Wood's left for dead. He bursts through, and it's a side foot. For me, he's got to be doing more. He's got to be testing the keeper. You know, it's straight at him, it's a side foot. Now people will say a proper finisher will put that away, and no doubt they would, but you've got to ask yourself the question, it's a self-made opportunity really. Would any of our other forwards have actually been in that position? Would they have been able to get that far up the pitch, beat Wood for pace and get there? Maybe not. So it's a swings and roundabouts, but he has got to do better with that opportunity. Patterson gets thrown on floor, but it's quite clear we're not going to get a penalty from this referee today, especially with that linesman on far side if he's had to do it. And you could see it coming, and then they scored a second. As I said, Wednesday's getting rattled. I mean, Richard Woods took one, his nose is all over his face. I mean, I'll be stunned if that's not bust. And we give away another daft free kick over on far side at pitch, which these are a team that clearly spend a lot of time on set pieces, so that's a suicide thing to do. It's a ball in, it bobbles back, it gets tapped into Smith, who has done nothing for 90 minutes. But here's that thing about having a finisher. Little touch, poof, it's in. Just a little touch to him, takes it in his stride, radiant corner. It's a lovely finish, by the way, and it's 2-0 and that's game over. You know, Wednesday the better side. Rotherham probably 2, maybe 3. Ogbenny has a 25-yarder, but over 90 minutes they've scored from 2 set pieces, and that's literally all they've had. But they're a team who's only conceded 18 goals, and you're not going to play well every week. You're not going to beat teams every week by playing great football or dominating them. But if you're keeping clean sheets like that, if you're 18 goals this season they've conceded, if you're keeping that number of clean sheets, you've always got a chance, and it only takes a set piece, a corner, a free kick. you've always got a chance. And from what I can gather, the last 3 or 4 games, the last month or so, that's what they have been doing. They've not been in best form, but they're finding a way to win. So, fair play to them in a way. Beginning of the season, at their place, they were better side. And Wednesday won 2-0. And that seems to have been the story of these fixtures this season. The best team has lost. The best team at New York Stadium lost. And the best team at Hillsborough today lost. That's football, isn't it? So I'm not upset about today. It was a really good Wednesday performance, and it's come on the back of 4 other good performances, and that's what we've been wanting to see all year. A consistently picked side with their own identity, their own way of playing, a team who are hard to break down. And again, apart from those set pieces, we give away the silly set pieces, we have been hard to break down today. In open play, we looked under no pressure whatsoever. We want to see a Wednesday team that's going out and attacking. They are creating chances. Yes, we could do with putting 1 or 2 more of them away, but at minute we are our 2 goal scorers. So many positives from today. And last week and the week before that, I think we're in a good vein of form and we're playing well as a team unit. That's the most important thing. We ain't got a result today, we ain't got 3 points today, but I'm seeing something there. Yeah, that is a team. That is a collection of players who are playing well together as a unit. It's not just individuals chucked in. And let's be honest, games against Wigan and Rotherham, they're not the games that are going to decide our season. They never have been. The games that are going to decide our season are against the teams round about us. Top 2, I never envisaged that from the start of the season anyway. Always top 6, what I was thinking about. Oxford, Plymouth, they're the sort of teams. Wickham, it's what we do against teams like that. Now, as it is, they've all got to play each other again. So Wednesday, you're going to have some luck in there somewhere. Some of them teams in there in that top 6 are going to bomb points against other teams. And Wednesday, you've just got to use that opportunity to get into that gap. And I think they can do that. If they play as well as they've played in the last 2 fixtures against a Wigan team and a Rotherham team that are fancied as favourites for promotion, I think we've every chance of getting in the playoff spots. No problem at all. We'll have a look at the next 4. So Accrington Stanley, again, another home game. Got a fancy Wednesday at home, always do. If we play like we have been playing, there's no team going to come here and have an easy ride. I can see us beating them. They're in a decent run of form actually. They are up to 12, but there's nothing to fear there for us. Donny can't. Donny are doomed. Donny are doomed. If we don't turn them over or more away, then there's problems. But we'll get 3 points from them. Fleetwood again. I think we owe them 1 actually. Fleetwood, they're down at that end. I can see us getting some of there. Charlton, that can be a possible banana skin. They've got some big units up front. Them that we'll talk about that at time. But 4 fixtures there. I can see us genuinely. I can see us getting 12 points from that. I can honestly. We ain't got the spoils today, but am I upset? No, not really. We're playing really well. I was pleased with the overall performance. And now and again, when you're playing a team that's top of the league, they're going to have them little bits of know-how. They're going to have them little things going for them that get them over the line in games. That's why they are top of the league. But Wednesday's still a work in progress, and an impressive display today. Impressive last match against Wigan, and I think we're stepping in the right direction. Not to worry about. So, yeah, I'm confident. I'm looking forward to the next game against Accrington. So, enjoy your Valentine's Day, and see you next match. Everything's coming together. Not to be upset about today. Apart from probably terrible linesman, but other than that, sound. That's freezing cold now.